Even in the hood, I still bang Ray Ray. On hood. Ray gang or don't bang.
Running up the paper and I get it on a daily. Yeah, get it. Tell that bitch running in, she gotta pay me. Niggas on bunk, got this bitch going crazy. I just dropped on the wrist and face 80. Money in it.
Crispies, nigga. Crispies, nigga. Alright. Okay. Crispies, bro. Everybody get the Crispies, bro. I get all the white Crispies. I get the white Crispies. The white Crispies.
I got people on my side that never let me down. Cause I got fire in my eyes and lungs in the clouds. Don't disrespect me, I don't wanna paint another clown. He got to crying long leg before we let him down.
Rap News Street Politics, the best hood channel on YouTube. And we back in the West Athens with the world famous 120 Raymond Avenue Crips. Now in West Athens, this is right in the mix, right up under Westmont, still in the hundreds, and the Raymonds border, some notorious hoods that do get more airtime than the Raymonds do. This section is known for the Grim Sleeper, the serial killer who was piling bodies up throughout West Athens. It's connected to the Death Alley down Vermont, which has historically been one of the most murderous spots throughout the city. We done seen the Denver Lanes trying to get up on the Raymonds, shooting up their house, missing the members, and hitting somebody's grandma while she was in her wheelchair and taking her life. And overall, this Athens area has a worse crime rate than Watts. But we don't hear a lot about the Raymonds, but it's a lot of representation that they have. And it's a lot going on in this section. So not only is the Raymonds right here in West Athens, they also share their hood with South Los. And not too far from them, we're gonna be speaking on Gardena with the West Side Shotguns and some new Crip hoods that's formed in Gardena over the last 5 years. But like I said, with West Athens being right here in the mix, just south of the 105, 120th in Vermont being the main spot of the Raymonds, we know the city is in an all-out war right now, and a lot is going on every day between Florence and Imperial and Vermont and Avalon. On the east side and the west side, we know it's some of the main players that we usually see going at it, and the streets are extremely hot. Now, like I said, some of the main players that we always see, the Hoovers is going at it, the main streets, 9-0, East Coast, and we did just see Tifo from 11 Deuce Broadway lose his life, man. We gotta say, rest in peace to him, and rest in peace to everybody that's lost their life on both sides of this war that's going on right now. You know, it seemed like time is frozen, and we sitting back watching the streets unfold in a crazy way with how these dudes are spinning these blocks right now.
Breaking news this morning in Westmont, a man was shot and killed early this morning on a residential street.
We have breaking news in downtown LA where police responded to a shooting and found a man holding a gun and a victim dead.
We are here on 97th Street. This was the scene around 12:40 this morning. A birthday party was ending just a few properties down from where a man was shot. Police also.
Shootings hit South LA over the weekend. 10 people have been shot. 2 people have been killed.
They all happened within a few miles of each other.
But some hoods that's not really talked about that do have implications to these politics that's going on north of the 105. The Raymonds and the Shotguns both have dealings with these hoods that's going up right now. Now, the Raymonds, we know historically they lean on the neighborhood Crips side. They're not neighborhood Crips. They're not a part of the Rolling Hundreds. And it's been a lot of talk about them being a part of the Hundreds and a part of the OCAR at one point in time. But they politics is low-key tricky. Now, again, in West Athens, they going from 117th all the way down to El Segundo between Normandy and the 110 now. On Vermont and 120th, this is the borderline between them and Denver Lane. At that Ralph's over there, this is where they go west of Vermont. But main spots over here, 120th in Berindo, Bud Long in 120th, 126th in Berindo. Of course, Helen Keller Park. They do be back here off Hoover and Laconia, Denver and Athens. This whole area right here is extremely active. And like I said, they do overlap with South Los. But the key thing about the Raymonds is they beef with everybody they border, as well as the Hoovers up Vermont. So they border the Denver Lanes. They've been known to have an extremely active beef with them. They border Athens Park, extremely active beef with them. The Paybacc Crips in Gardena and them Westside Harvard gangsters are also still beefing with them 120 Raymonds. And some close alliances that they do share is across 120th. They are tight-knit with 11A East Coast, where they share a heavy beef with Athens Park. and they are cool down Imperial with 111 and 11-5 neighborhood Crip. Now, they are cool with the whole Roller 100 car, but they have fell out with the Blocks and the UGs at one point in time. Now, I believe this was before Blocks and 111 fell out, but the Raymonds have really took a stance of individuality with not fully turning neighborhood and staying Raymond Avenue.
Money in a thing, cause we up where the dough at. Yeah, picture me rolling, it's a Kodak. Peanut butter guts in the back of the Maybacc. Good leather and wood, I'm on the Zapac. Bitch, wipe me down cause I'm on, yeah, big facts. Gotta get to it fast like ASAP. Money make the world go round like a racetrack. She back at it again like some kneecaps.
But 120 being the first and the most active and largest set of the Raymonds, they also got 10 Deuce Raymonds in Inglewood, where the politics get even more crazy because they beefing with the neighborhood Crips and the Legends over here in Inglewood. And they tight with TCG, the Tongan Crips. And it's said that Raymonds had a hand in not only starting TCG, the Tongans, they also say that they played a part in starting South Los. But they last set in California is gonna be in Pasadena, where of course they beefing with the PDLs, cool with the Altadena Blocks, and cool with the Do-Rocks. But something that's different about the Pasadena Raymonds is the 3 times they repping that Trey Times in Pasadena. Now, I've been in a Pasadena hood. It's definitely nowhere near as active as they 120. I would say 120, like I said, is the most active. Next being 10 Deuce, but we know it's a lot of gentrification that's going on in Inglewood. So a lot of pieces being moved around. Morningside is getting shut down. A lot is going on by SoFi Stadium and the Intuit Dome. And third, I would say most active being a Pasadena Raymond hood, but a lot of Pasadena, it looks really nice out there. There's a lot of houses on Raymond Avenue in Pasadena, so I can't say them dudes is fully active like that in Pasadena. Now, Raymond's inception dates back to the 70s, close to the origins of Crippin', with being a breakoff of the West Side Crips. So it's a group of well-known reputable dudes that have came from the Raymonds. But some people in recent times that had a face card outside representing Raymond. Number one with the rapping is Inky Slim. We see Inky Slim tight-knit with Zoe Osama, and he doing his thing with the rapping, not super banged out with the music, but he putting out some good shit to the city. And somebody else y'all may be familiar with is LowMac the Bully with the channel Avenue Facts on YouTube. Now, LowMac is from 10 Deuce Raymond in Inglewood, also referred to as Inglewood by the Rays and the Tongans. But LowMac really hit the internet scene right after B-Brazy came with Figaro Facts. LowMac wanted to put the Raymond twist on it and came with the Avenue Facts. Now, on and off the internet, I've heard about LowMac in the county. Now, you know, he's had some scrutiny around his name in the county. We've heard of a lot of performances of him doing his thing, catching his phase in the county, doing his shit. There is a story of him doing something that's deemed to be unfavorable with his fade from K5 from VNG. But for the most part, I have heard of LowMac doing his thing. But while we was making this video, man, some shit slid across my desk with people saying LowMac has some paperwork, man. So, you know, we had to look into it, and it dates back from a homicide that took place on 90th and Budlong, where a dude named Raymond Weston was killed over here December 19th, 2009. Now, Raymond Weston, I believe he may have been a gangster Crip. You know, 90th and Budlong, this is over here in the A-Trays. The Hoovers be over here. But he also went to Gardena High. So I can't say for sure, but Raymond could have had some Trey Gang affiliations. But when we fast forward to LowMac, we got the paperwork of him in the interrogation room. Now again, this homicide took place in 2009, but over the years, the sheriffs kept pushing a $10,000 reward for information on this case. And this is how the detectives claim they got on the LowMac heels, because somebody was trying to claim that 10 racks and spoke up. And at this time, LowMac was in the pen for unrelated charges. I believe he had caught a burglary previously, and he was down on a stick case doing state time. So they pulled him from the pen and slap him in the room. Now, he started the whole situation off properly with asking for his lawyer. But this is somewhat of a common mistake individuals make. Now, we have to take in point, LowMac was about 19 when this murder took place, and he was about 23 at the time of this interrogation. So he didn't shut it all the way down from the beginning. He asked for the lawyer and said he didn't want to talk about a photo lineup where somebody had picked his face out without the lawyer being present. But this is when these homicide detectives end up sliding him a photo of a car that they claim they took from his crib all the way back in 2009. Now, this car was for sure pivotal to the case. It was a Cutlass that was deemed to be at the scene and pointed out by eyewitnesses. LowMac goes on to state it's not his car, and he told the detectives that they didn't find it from his crib. Now, I don't know how that's even to be debated. You know, like I said, the shit should have been shut down as soon as they tried to say that he was in possession of the car, but they combat his defense with the Oldsmobile not being his with a ticket that he got in the same car that detectives alleged was used in the homicide. Now, again, this is the car that was on all the bulletins for the murder, and now they showing him proof that at one point in time, he was for sure in possession of this vehicle. But regardless of the evidence against him, he still said it wasn't his whip, but he did admit to the ticket lining up with his DMV information and basically saying that it was him who got the ticket in the car, but still saying that the car wasn't registered to him. Now, to me, at this point in the paperwork, nothing really stood out like, man, he doing some bad shit. It looked like somebody who didn't shut the interview down when he should, even though he asked a lawyer. And you see them folks playing with him about the fact that he did bring up a lawyer. You know how they do, playing them little mind games, saying they got information, but you done lawyered up and they can't say too much more. Just them tactics to keep you talking. And he had fell into it. But a name he did drop in the paperwork was somebody named Raymond Pettis. Now, he basically was saying that it's some people out there that want to see him go down because they don't like him. So if anybody is saying his name or implicating him in this crime, it's the niggas on the street that's not rocking with him. And Raymond Pettis is somebody that was also sitting in the county at that time. But he didn't implicate Raymond Pettis in the crime in this homicide. But again, did he do too much talking in this room? I would say an unnecessary conversation was had. Did he do snitching on this case with this paperwork that's been put out there? I can't say he did. Now, there was another interview in 2009. If niggas put that paperwork out, I can't say, but from the paperwork that I received, I can't say LowMac told on anybody on this murder. There was allegations of him snitching on a female, I believe a female that he was rocking with. I don't know if she was from Inglewood family or something like that, but those were the allegations set forth. Now, we see LowMac take the situation to trial, and he beat it. August 16th, 2019, he's acquitted by the jury on the homicide of Wayman Weston. I believe he may have had 2 trials. We see one say it was dismissed previously, but all in all, he was found not guilty by the jury. So I don't necessarily see any deals made or him telling on his crimes with the paperwork set forth. But again, with this murder happening in the gangsters, not too far from the Hoovers, these are the implications that are had between Raymond and their enemies.
Got him at the light, he became a road runner, still a whoop a nigga feed like the nigga stole something late night. Gang slide on the mission, sold nothing, stake out the address, heard he work like 4-something mine. Soon as he come about, nigga kill cut. Let my clip cry tears over spilled blood. Bitches fake, niggas hate, I don't feel love. Dead low, she was never down for the build up.
But right here with South Los in West Athens is where things kind of get even more muddy. Like I said, they overlap West Athens with South Los, but South Los also bleeds West Side and East Side. We talked about South Los in another video, speaking about where they are north of Imperial. Now, the main spots that they really be at, 117th in New Hampshire, 117th in Budlong, 119th in Berendo, all back there in them apartments, Budlong and 117th is cracking right there with South Los. And they also be on 120th and Vermont as well as 117th in Vermont. It's them apartments right there next to Ralph's. They calling that HK City. And that's the key thing with the Raymonds and South Los. They do share an extremely active hatred with the Hoovers. So this is what I'm talking about these politics in West Athens bleeding to really what's going on in the city. No, I'm not insinuating that the Raymonds and South Los is participating in what we actively seeing on a day-to-day basis. We know some of the hoods that's taking part of that, but these hoods have implications in those politics as well with beefing with the Hoovers. The Hoovers is right up Vermont from them. But what differs from South Los and Raymond is East Coast. We know Raymond is really tight with East Coast. 11-8, like I said, is just down 120 from them. South Los beefs it with East Coast down Imperial. So this is where they bleed onto the east side. They are down Imperial, Imperial and Maine, Imperial and San Pedro. Now, They do have a good relationship with the Broadways, so I believe they do exist a little bit more north of Imperial, like 113th, 112th. I would imagine it's a little bit more difficult for them to go south of Imperial since 11-8 is right there. But down Imperial, South Lows do be right there, whacking East Coast out. And this where, like I said, it gets funny because Raymond and South Lows coexist with each other. They cool with each other. Raymond could be somewhat seen as allied with East Coast. And you got the hood that you coexisting with actively beefing hard with East Coast. When you see South Lows hitting up, they mainly going at East Coast, the Hoovers, and Gardena to that side. But they also beefing with Junior Mafia up Vermont that occupies the same area as the 107 Hoovers. And they beefing with the Cabrones, who occupy where the 11 Deuce Hoovers are. So this is where things get a little bit muddy in this situation. You know, how the Raymonds and the South Los is cool with each other, but the South Los is beefing with Raymond allies. Now, I think this is just a stance that Raymond has took over the years where we just see them really pushing Raymond over everything. Not saying that they need to stick their nose in South Los business when it comes to East Coast, but Raymond's whole identity has really been Raymond Avenue over everything and anything, and they really beefed it with both sides of the line, Bloods, neighborhoods, and gangsters, as well as Sudanos. Now, over the years, we know a lot has been cracking in this section. We got a lot of murders that have taken place within the last few years over here between West Athens and Gardena. We got cases between Shotgun, Athens Park, Paybacc, and the Raymonds with niggas pulling them throw-off murders. You know, somebody come to their hood, say they from another hood, and end up getting cracking. And we got to speak on a few things that we've been seeing recently that have happened in the past between these hoods as well. Something called the kill zone theory. So I know everybody's seen that tape that happened with the Hoovers when multiple people ended up getting shot and somebody did lose their life from the Hoovers.
Ay, bitch, yeah, homies. Put it on your gang while you blowing up your homies. Ay, bitch, yeah, homie. Put it on your gang while you blowing up your homies. Ay, bitch, ay, yeah, homie. Put it on your gang while you blowing up your homies.
Those type of situations when somebody's shooting into the crowd, the DA then tries to pull out what they call the kill zone theory. Like I said, we're going to speak on this going on with the Raymonds and the Shotguns, going on with Gardena, Threse, and South Los. That same situation, the DA tries to use the proximity of the individuals that weren't hit with bullets to the people who were actually hit in the shooting and tries to stick extra charges on these people for attempted murders. Even though nobody was hit, it's all dependent on how close you are to the target that was hit for them to prove the kill zone theory. And this also goes into play with washing people up when shooting into a crowd. So make sure y'all mindful of that. But another hood that's really involved in this beef with the Raymonds, just southwest of them, of course, like I said, is the West Side Shotgun Crips. Now, SGC is another hood where when you look at their name, you cannot tell their political stance if you don't know what's going on. Similar to Insane, they don't have that GC on it, but they are pushing that gangster Crip, that Trey Time movement. Now, we know the hoods and Gardena is rocking them green rags. That's extremely indicative of West Side Shotgun. And they are over here occupying El Segundo de Rosecrans between Crenshaw and Western. Now, below 135th and Van Ness, just east of that is really them industrial buildings. There's really nothing going on over there. So when you hit 135th and Van Ness, they really west of that. But some hot spots over here, Rowley Park and 132nd. I believe that's going to be the beginning of Shotgun, being up at Rowley Park. Next, 139th and Van Ness, King's Liquor. The back of King's Liquor, we all know it's going up over there. But the most gutter part that I would say, 141st place. Just above Rosecrans, it's extremely active back there in them apartments. And just so y'all know, we spoke on it in our last video, 141st in the Shotguns is the same place J Hood caught his body in the back of them apartments, man. It's extremely active back there on 141st and Perch, man, down that one way.
Got both my thumbs up, but I'm not from Barlem. Funky niggas say he got a problem. Where we finna solve him? Fish fried niggas getting dropped, but spot him, I got him. Tell a slave niggas shut the fuck up, y'all not even a problem. 60 niggas getting slept on me, he's gotta go. Not two niggas say he want smoke, like nigga I know. Caught a honey bun up in traffic, we beat with the pole. Last funky nigga we saw, he thought he had seen a ghost.
But overall, with the Shotguns pushing the 3, we know they align with the gangster Crips. And one thing we've seen, man, lately is with them Hawthorne gangsters, we've seen a lot of activity between the Hawthorne Thug family, the 11-8, and the Mad Ass Gangsters really pushing that GC and really having some young homies that's really represented. We seen them in that baseball game with the Graveyard Gangsters, man. And shout out them young niggas from Hawthorne that the homies introduced me to. It was some solid young niggas coming out of Hawthorne, man. And we really see that Gangsta Crip movement in Hawthorne really picking up. And one thing that's being pushed right now is Pico to Prairie. We know that West LA and Deep West movement of the gangsters down Pico is came to Prairie in Hawthorne, and again, pushing Pico to Prairie. So these are some of Shotgun's alliances, as well as Paybacc, of course, the A-Trays, any Gangsta Crip hood, they rocking with the Shotguns, man. And the Shotguns do rock with the Hoovers. We seen FK Deuce doing songs with the 11 Deuce Hoovers. So again, this is what ties this area below the 105 into the mix of these current politics. Like I spoke on many times before, when you cool with certain hoods, it don't take nothing for you to be in somebody else's hood. It's nothing for niggas from Shotgun or whoever that's cool with the Hoovers to be in the Hoovers, and things like that could involve these allied hoods in what's going on between Florence and Imperial and Vermont and Avalon. So that's really the point I'm trying to make, is these alliances can really turn up in this war that's really going on in the city of LA in 2025. Now, not only is Shotgun beefing it with the Raymonds, of course, they beefing it with all the Rolling Hunters. And I've seen the Shotguns really do some heavy dissing recently, man. From the 30s to the Hunters, they not having none of it. East Coast is nothing going on. All of that is bad with the Shotguns, man. They really pushing that Gangsta Crip versus all neighborhood Crip movement.
Let's go. Hey, let's go. Let's go.
And it's these newer hoods underneath Shotgun that they beefing with as well. So like I said, with Gardena, these newer hoods is forming. It's like the second and third new hood that we spoke on in this area that's trying to gain legs. We spoke on BDE, backdoor everything, in the previous video. Slid over to their section. It's not really active like that. We know a lot of them other members from BDE was from other hoods. But these two hoods underneath the Shotguns seemingly have way more traction, and we've seen some activity. One of them being Westside Village Avenue Crip. Again, just south of Rosecrans to Marine, between Van Ness and Crenshaw, the VACs is right here. Now, the VACs is supposedly a break off of Shotgun. Some dudes that was probably either cool or from Shotgun at one point, and you know, things have went sour, and now they beefing with Shotgun. Of course, we see that Avenue on their name. You know, I don't know how hard they pushing that. I'm pretty sure they cool with the Raymonds, but I have seen some activity over here off 149th and Sutro, Thornburg Park, down Marine. They also supposed to have blocks on 147th. I've seen some activity on 147th and Crenshaw from these dudes, and 144th. But what we do see them beefing with as well is Gardena 13. I have seen them getting whacked out by G13, which we know is an extremely large hood in Gardena and gets along with Shotgun and the Paybaccs. So Village Avenue really coming out within the last 5 years. I think they could have some potential to really grow and be an actual full-fledged set that's recognized by everybody in the city. But just east of them, across Van Ness, between Rosecrans and Marine and Western and Van Ness, is the Tongan Boy Crips. Now, I believe at one point Village Avenue and the Tongan Boys did have some friction, but I think they cool now. But the Tongan Boys don't have as much activity as the Village Avenues. I think the most I've seen from them is around 145th and St. Andrews. We know all this is behind Sarah High School, but it's also said that they've got their start from TCG. And like I said, Raymond Avenue is said to have a hand in starting TCG. So we can assume that Village Avenue and Tongan Boy Crip out of Gardena is tight-knit with the Raymond Avenues, sharing that beef with the Shotguns and the Paybaccs. Now, in the last couple years, we have seen some murders taking place in some of these hoods. We know we've seen the Raymond Avenues really go back and forth with the Hoovers. We know we see some niggas from Hoover saying that Raymonds was turning it down at the courthouse, and that's something that we talked about numerous times.
Right there. Yeah. Ain't nothing. You said your name what? Yep, I'm Tiny Two Kills, West Side Hoover. Yep. Bathroom right here though. Oh kills, nigga. Yep. Bathroom right there though. Crispies, nigga. Yep.
The courthouse fade, you know, a lot of people seem to have different takes on that. So I'm not going to say too much, but aside from the Hoovers, we know the Denver Lanes and the Athens Parks and the Raymonds for show beef is so. What we've recently seen in the Raymonds, a murder on 123rd and Menlo, another one on Denver and Athens, and another one on Hoover and 127th. But some high profile shit did jump off on Vermont and Imperial. And this is the borderline of South Lowe's, Denver Lane, Pimptown, 11 Deuce. But I would say the Raymonds is right here too, man. And like I said, Imperial right now is extremely hot. In February of this year, a reward was just up to $10,000 for the murder that took place last year in this same spot of 22-year-old Raymond Morgan. Young lady pulling up onto the 105 freeway, Vermont and Imperial, and somebody sadly pulled up to her car, fired shots, taking her life in this same exact spot on Vermont and Imperial, man, by the 105. This area is nothing to play with. And we've also seen it go down in the Paybaccs, 137th in Vermont, 132nd in Vermont. We know the Paybaccs used to be cool with the Raymonds, and the shotguns used to be cool with the Raymonds, and everything has turned sour. Now the Paybaccs, they're smaller, not as active as the shotguns. So what we see the Raymonds really pushing, 139th Street K, Denver Lane K, Athens Park. I don't really see them doing a lot of whackouts on the Paybaccs, but you see somebody still getting cracking over here in this area. But Gardena 13 does also stretch into this situation, and this is where South Lowe's comes in, man. Now, South Lowe's and G13 have really been beefing it, man. I would say over 30 years, they've really been going at it. And the situation that really turned it up is when they all got together on Western and Imperial. Now, this was some years back, but it said that about 300 to 500 people had gathered for a car show. Gardena 13 was up there thick, and South Lowe's pulled up, banging on everybody. So 3 South Lowe's dudes was tightened in together, walking on Imperial and Western, shouting out South Lowe's. When Gardena 13 started getting cracking, about 5 shots were let off. But crazy enough, all 3 members of South Lowe's ended up losing their life simultaneously on the spot over here on Western and Imperial, with one of them being shot in the chest, another one being shot point blank range in the head, and another one being hit twice in the back. Again, all 3 of them losing their life at the hands of Gardena 13. Now, this is where that kill zone theory really comes in, because you have somebody shooting into a crowd of people. I believe somebody also got hit who wasn't around, but they were trying to tack on extra attempted murders on a Gardena 13 member named Luis Garcia, who they tagged all 3 bodies to. And they hit him with the kill zone liability and hit him with them attempted murders. So, you know, this is shit that people got to be mindful to, especially when they shooting into these crowds, man. A lot more damage is being done than what you think. And shit like this, we already know, this completely fuels the fire with Gardena 13 and South Lowe's. And you know, they washed up Luis Garcia from G13 with the LWAP, plus an additional 50 years for getting cracking over here on Western and Imperial. Now, if y'all want to keep y'all ear to the streets, just like Rap News Street Politics, you gotta be doing it with the Raycon Essential Open Earbuds. You know, Raycon is sponsored this video by the Best Hood channel on YouTube, and they slide the Essential Open Earbuds for 30% off at buyraycon.com/rapnewsopen. Now, you know, when we moving through these blocks, keeping the ear to what's going on outside in the city, we told y'all it's extremely hot. We doing so with these Raycons in the ear. And the key thing, these open ear designs are not only comfortable for all day use, but they also let us hear what's going on in our surroundings, man. You know, we going through these hoods and we gotta be aware of what's going on around us, man. The open ear design not only provides comfort, but it also has the proper audio quality when using it for a phone call or for listening to music. They got multiple different modes you can flick through while wearing the earbuds. They don't fall out your ear when you're moving around, and I promise you, they got the same top tier audio quality as the other headphones you've been wearing this whole time, man. And with over 3 million people to date rocking the Raycons, y'all make sure y'all click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/rapnewsopen to get that 30% off the Essential Open Earbuds. Y'all make sure y'all rock with Raycon for sponsoring the Best Hood channel on YouTube and helping y'all keep y'all ear to the streets. Now, of course, we know G13 and South Los are not the only ones putting it down in this section. We know Raymond and Shotgun is playing ball too. And the kill zone theory also came up in the situation between the Raymonds and the Shotguns on 141st. Now this time, like I said, 141st in the Shotguns hot ass block, but it's 141st in the Paybaccs, and this is where 8 dudes was hanging out in front of an apartment building in the Paybaccs. Now, out of those 8 people, Xavier Brown was said to be the only member who was gangbanging out here. I don't know how true that is. You know, my thing is, if y'all out here hanging out in somebody's hood, you know what come with this shit. But Xavier Brown was said to be from Shotgun Crip. And this is when the Raymonds slid down Normandy and made that left turn on 141st, seeing these dudes hanging out. So Orlando Sanders, 120 Raymond Avenue, seeing these dudes and recognized Xavier Brown, who he used to be cool with. Like I said, the Shotguns and the Raymonds at one point was cool. Now this dude seemingly was looking for some paybacks, ended up finding shotguns in the Paybaccs. And without warning, Sanders get off 4 or 5 times, essentially shooting at all 8 people, but killing somebody named David Hollis over here on the steps of this apartment. Now he also wounded Xavier Brown from shotgun, as well as 2 other people at the spot as well. Now shit went bad from the jump. This dude was riding around with his girlfriend in the car, and he had his homie in the back seat. So it said that his girlfriend didn't know what he was doing. The homie did. He bent on 141st, stopped and started getting off without telling the female, she spooked. Surveillance video catch him and cell phone records put Sanders at the scene. And it said that Xavier Brown from Shotgun identified him as the shooter, along with another non-affiliated member that was over here on 141st that did get hit in this incident. So Sanders goes down and they place him in the cell with the Perkins, the usual act. And we know how these people play games with you, man, and trick you into talking to these people in the cell. He gets in the cell with the Perkins. The detective come and makes some snarky comments to him while he's sitting in the cell in front of the Perkins, dip off and leave him with the Perkins, and they start up a conversation. And Sanders ended up saying too much, start talking about DNA, gang affiliation, all kind of bullshit, where he should have kept his mouth shut. And that audio and video recording of the conversation in the cell with the rat was played at his jury trial. Now, his girlfriend also took the stand on him for a reduced sentence. Like I said, he spooked her, should have never had her in the car for the move. And she said he yelled out Raymonds when he started letting off over here on 141st in the Paybaccs on the shotguns. And she helped the DA give Sanders a first-degree sentence for the murder of Hollis, and they hit him with 4 attempts. Now, he was back on the appeal trying to fight this kill zone theory, and man, that's a game of inches. You sitting there fighting with the DA on how far or how close somebody was to where you got off. That's not a game you want to be playing. This is how they max niggas out, shooting into these crowds. But what we see on appeal is that Sanders did get that kill zone instruction overturned. So in a kill zone case, the defendant has a primary target and reasons that he cannot miss the target. And you can only present the kill zone case if you can prove that there was one specific target. And since there was people standing not only on the staircase and off the staircase where Hollis lost his life and them other dudes got hit, they narrowed the relevant zone on the staircase and excluded 2 attempts. But again, what is it when you still sitting down with an L? Now, some things that the Raymonds and the Shotguns do have in common is that they do have setups out of state. One thing y'all may not know, Icewear Vezo out of Detroit from Shotgun Crip. They also in New York, Baltimore, Minnesota, and Oklahoma. Now, the Raymonds is beefing with the Hoovers all the way to Memphis, but they also got 10 dudes in Atlanta, and we see some dudes rapping coming from 10 Deuce Raymond in Atlanta as well.
Crip face, I don't do what the bitch say. Real nigga, she gon' do what a Crip say. Blue face, bitch, I'm all about a blue face. Play with it, you get burnt up like Two-Face. Ray brace, yeah, I bang with the fang gang. You nigga wanna play ball, nigga, let's play.
She back, you know I bang with the fang gang. Pull up on dough.
But we know a lot of hoods in LA are out of state as well. I see Athens Park be out of state as well. And the crazy thing, most of the time these hoods still beef and keep the same warfare in these out of state places as well. But of course, with Athens Park, we know it's went up with them. And this is the hood that slid into the Raymonds and tried to pass off as some dudes from Shotgun to get popping on the Raymonds. Now, this was some time ago. We got to rewind the clock back to August 15th, 2010, when the APB slid down El Segundo and made a right on Berindo Avenue. Like I said, Berindo between the 120th and El Segundo. The Raymonds is all over there. But 12004, that complex on 120th and Berindo, 126, 127 behind Helen Keller. This is where it's going down at. And this is where Athens Park found a group of dudes hanging out. So Christopher Murphy and Bernard Williams, again, both from APB, slid over here on Berindo in broad daylight, 12:45 on August 15th, 2010. They say what's up to a group of dudes and then hit them with what that shotgun like. After that, it said they both start getting off. Now, for people who may not be understanding this is a common throw-off. Going into somebody's hood, saying you from another hood. Now, not everybody does this, but like I said, this is still extremely common. We seen the Hoovers do the same thing when they was looking for dudes from South Los and from Block and claiming to be from Denver Lane. They slid on 112th, saying blood, killed a Hispanic man that they assumed was from South Los, and then they slid over to 111th and Dinker, looking for the blocks, claiming to be from Denver Lane. It's a couple different strategies behind this right here. We already know Shotgun and the Raymonds are beefing. This gives your hood a little bit more time. It's a lot of mess and a lot of politics that goes on if Raymond actually believes that it was Shotgun that does the shooting. Athens Park is able to go back to their hood, kick it, while Raymond is over there going to the Shotguns, trying to do some get back. The Shotguns are slipping because they don't know that APB just claimed they hood when doing a hit. You know, it just creates a complete mess. And honestly, it's probably a couple hoods out here in the city that's beefing like this way back from years ago for no reason. And we also have heard some hoods backdooring their members and blaming it on other hoods. This is along those same type of lines, blaming somebody else's hood. But in the midst of Bernard Williams and Christopher Murphy trying to get off on the Raymonds, some eyewitnesses was unloading their groceries, watching everything go down. Again, this is broad daylight. And it was somewhat of two different shootouts that had took place, with the Raymonds getting cracking back when the APB started letting off. But this is when it said that Charlie Murphy potentially stepped in front of Bernard Williams and ended up getting shot in the back by his own homie and losing his life after Bernard Williams somewhat went into a panic and drove him straight to the hospital. And this is when Bernard Williams, again, he's in a panic. He just shot his homie. Everything went all bad over here on Berindo, man. They cuff him up at the hospital. He starts making statements, lays out the whole shit to the police and what he said his homie did. Just some bullshit really took place with this. And the autopsy report confirmed that Murphy was shot in the back, and the bullet that went into Murphy's back matched the bullet round that was in the car that they drove over to Berindo. Now, again, Williams got in the room, made 3 different stories up, didn't lawyer up, and he was found guilty of a second-degree murder, trying to do a throw-off on the Raymonds, and getting 15 years to life for accidentally killing his homie, plus an extra 20. And that's just an example of shit going bad, man, trying to slide on these blocks. Now, like I said, the Raymonds have been known to beefing with all kind of people, as we see: Shotgun, Paybacc, Gangsters, Bloods, and they beefing with the neighborhoods currently. Right now, in the Legends in Inglewood, we seen them whack the Raymonds out. I believe the situation with the Hunters, the UGs, Blocks, and the Watergates have blown over, but we have seen them beefing with the A7 Kitchens and the A7 Gangsters. We've seen them dissing the Kitchens recently, and around that same time where the APBs was really going at the Raymonds into it with the A7 Gangsters.
Yeah, nigga. Gag. Raylos, nigga, fuck chickens and they dead homies, nigga.
What are the dead homies, nigga? Niggas know where we at, though. Nigga see where we at on the nigga, we on the 5, nigga, on the dead homies.
Now it said that dudes from A7 had some family members that stayed over here on Laconia. Like I said, Laconia and Hoover, down to Vermont, even up to Denver. It be up here as well. Ainsworth, all the way up to that loop on Athens Boulevard. It's activity all through here. But the A7s is over there visiting their people and getting to it with the Raymonds. Later that night, it said that like 15 A7s and 15 Raymonds both meet back up over here off Hoover and Laconia. And it said that there were people from 9-7 there as well with the A7s. We know the A7s and the 9-7s are tight. And this is another crazy thing with Raymond's situation with the coast. We know A7 and 9-7 are moving coast to coast. Cool with these coasts, so are Raymond. This is what I mean by Raymond just pushes its own line. This is how muddy the politics can really get in the city. You gotta know what's going on. But it said that in the midst of the situation, Raymonds and A7 have words. The Raymonds threw off some death threats, even told the dude's grandma from A7 that they taking out people's moms too. So it was a lot of heated tension that could have resulted in a fade, but you know, A7 that came deep from their hood, and that's a situation for disaster right there. And this is where somebody from Raymonds named Mark Davis goes up to somebody from A7, points the gun to their neck, and again starts making threats. And another dude from Raymond named Alahanan Reed asks Davis for the gun. Davis gives him the gun, and Reed starts letting off into the crowd of the A7s. Now, you know, everybody took off, but Raymond Virginia, somebody from the A7s, ended up losing their life that night over here on Laconia. And as everybody was running towards Vermont, the Raymonds ended up seeing Daniel Johnson, another person that was with the group of 8-7s and 9-7s, and start letting off on him too, killing him as well, man. A double homie over here in the Raymonds on the 8-7s and 9-7s. Now, I'm not sure if they was beefing before this. It doesn't seem like it. This was about 2008, but this is how the Raymonds are coming. They're not caring where you standing in the politics. Like I said, it's Raymond above everything. Now, you know, the sentences came down hard on the Raymonds, man, with the LWOPs for all 3 defendants that ended up going down on this double homicide, man. But none of this is new to this section, man. It's a lot going on with the politics over here. Your friends is cool with your enemies. Niggas falling out with hoods, regardless of their political stance, man. Again, this area is still connected to the hot spots in LA. And we're going to give y'all what y'all want next, man. We're going to speak about what's really going on in the city with these homicides and these niggas sliding on these blocks. But nonetheless, it's the best hood channel on YouTube. Y'all make sure y'all stay tapped in. We got a lot of shit we putting together. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. If we don't immediately get back to you on Instagram, we gonna hit you. It just be a lot of people in them DMs, man. But stay tapped in with us. Rap News Street Politics. We out.